Welcome back to, what is it? The monkey puzzle, I suppose. My honours dissertation for my degree. Monkey puzzles. Why am I up here at Benmore again? The reason is because of Storm Eowyn. It's not really that obvious, but Storm Eowyn has not been that kind to this garden. Up here, it's not too bad. Down behind the main house, it's really like disastrous. So we've sent a team out from Linn to try and help with the cleanup, which is at the bottom part of the garden and around the fernery, the rhododendron. That's going to take a while, and they want to reopen that when they reopen in March. But the actual hillside is going to take a lot longer than that. What's happened up here is a lot of the monkey puzzles that I was studying, like this guy and this guy, have blown over. And why that's interesting is because we were worried about Phytophthora cinnamomi. Now, getting tests from Forest Scotland is going to be a problem because getting into Benmore is a problem at the moment. So we'll do that as soon as we can, but we might not be able to do that in time for my submission deadline. So instead of being able to do proper testing, what we've come up here to do is just have a look at the root balls of all of these trees that have blown over. Because, right, elegantly done. Phytophthora cinnamomi is basically a root rot. And this is how it might be interacting with the waterlogging here, obviously, as the water flows down this hillside. And as you can see, potentially pools in the tufts. You can see a fair bit of water down at the bottom of there, but some of these trees are just planted in what is effectively ponds. So that might be an interaction with the waterlogging, like the channels and the pools might facilitate the transmission of the cinnamomi, might act as a sort of an inoculum sink, so that some trees are sitting in sort of much larger a load of inoculum, which might make them therefore prone to get a lot sicker. So with these trees that have come down, what we are trying to do is see what the new root growth is like, because with root rot you tend to get sort of blackening and a reduction in these sort of side shoots. Now, there's a slight complicating factor in that some of these roots belong to the heathers that are on here. There's a lot of grass, a lot of moss, and I mean, look at how heavy. That's really nasty clay soil, so that's not going to drain very nicely. But yeah, so we're looking for the health of these new root shoots, and we're also looking for what a sciencey person would prefer I call exudate, or signs of necrosis. What I would say is we're looking for signs of foost. Like, look at that. That is so a couple of them that we found have got some obvious signs of fungal growth on the roots once they've come up. You can see, maybe a little bit in there, maybe a little bit down there as well. So we're and every one of these trees where we've had the opportunity to have a look at the root ball because they've blown over, and so there's about 15 of them maybe are blown over. We're getting in, we're going to take a sample of these roots, we're going to clean them and see what the fine hair growth looks like, see if there's any blackening of the roots, and we're just going to have a look for any signs of foost, or any signs of ill health, any signs of girdling, any signs of the roots not breaking out of the actual root plate. And this, as you can see, actually is quite a healthy tree. So I would expect these roots to look quite good, and they actually do. But there's a couple of the really yellow ones are blown over as well. So we're going to just basically take samples of those, take them home, clean them up, lay them out side by side, and see if the sick trees and the healthy trees, have correspondingly sick and healthy root features and root growth features. So it feels a little bit opportunistic, but in return, we are going to try and help the guys here tidy this garden up and get rid of a lot of the fallen material, deal with some of the fallen trees, clean it up and get it open for them at the start of March. So yeah, and meanwhile, I'm going to take some of these guys home and make the kids think I'm weird because I'm going to be cleaning tree roots on the kitchen counter. Hey folks, welcome back to Monkey Puzzle Nonsense. Back at Benmore, just because, as I said in the last video, a lot of these trees are blown over. I'm with Michael, who has very tactfully turned his back, who's the collection supervisor? The collection supervisor here. He's been super helpful. We're helping them out with a bit of tree felling after the storm, and in return, Michael's been helping me have a look at some of the monkey puzzles that have been uprooted. This is just a very quick one. What we've got here is half kilo samples labeled with the accession number of the tree. So these guys are getting couriered to a lab down south somewhere overnight so they can be tested for Phytophthora cinnamomi. This is a special little bonus. There was a nasty black lesion on the side of one of the trees. And the other thing is, as you say, I've talked about Phytophthora cinnamomi at the moment because it's our best guess. We're not too sure really. The problem is cinnamomi is a root rot, so there are lots of things that can cause similar kind of problems if the roots aren't functioning properly as a system. So we're going to go get it tested for that. The other thing that we had a look at, because a couple of these trees are blown over, we were able to take a couple of the sickest ones, like the really nastiest looking ones, because there's no way they're going to bother trying to put those back upright and restake them. So we cut through the trunk, and what's interesting is how healthy it looks. Like, I mean, that looks really good. As you can see, there's a little bit of rot here, a little bit of the exudate, and remember I was talking about that exudate we were seeing on the sides of the trunk. So you can see this isn't 100% healthy, but by and large it's not bad. The really funky one is that this guy, this is the sickest tree of the lot. This was an absolute mess. It looked completely awful, and yet, I mean, it looks fabulous from here, doesn't it? And one of the reasons we've done this, obviously, apart from just to have a look, is just on the not on the off chance, but just, you know, if there were beetles or if there was some kind of a like an invertebrate infestation of some kind, you would sort of expect to see maybe boreholes or sort of under the bark or through the center of the trunk or something, like some evidence of insects living in there. So we just thought, just on the off chance, let's just cut through a couple of sections of trunk and see if we could find anything. The answer is we have not found anything. The trunk's, the actual heartwood, by and large, looks in very good condition. So we're going to persist with the roots. I've got my root samples, which I took last week, so I'm going to have a look at those, examine them, look at the the kind of healthy root nodule formation, which will tell you that it's got pretty good mycorrhizal associations formed in the soil here. We're going to send off our samples, see if we can find something in there, and then have a look at the answers and see if that helps us any.